Yo, what's good YouTube? It's boardzy, and this is going to be a topic that I actually have not covered in quite some time. This is going to be a summer 2023 updated glass mouse skate opinion, roundup, whatever you want to call it. I do have a decent amount of the new glass skate options that are popping up. I have offerings from Razer, Esport Tiger, the updated Pulsar Super Glides, and then just Ponage's stock glass skates. So I will be comparing how these options stack up with each other, but mainly I'm just going to be talking about what I've learned using glass skates a lot recently and just how I feel about them compared to PTFE. So one thing, it is the summer right now, and in New York it is pretty humid, so if you are using these on a standard cloth pad, especially seemingly just depending on how much you use them in one session, they will get muddy in a way that PTFE skates don't. I would say maybe the worst offender has been Ponage's glass skates. They do just get very muddy depending on how much I use them. And like I mentioned, it's going to happen on all skates, but I'm not sure if it's because of the edges on these, but there is definitely a more noticeable sense of a drag and just controlled feeling with these, even with not nearly as much use as the other glass skate options. The Razer glass skates that they provide on the Signature Edition, which I really think they should start selling separately for their other mice as well, but that's like a separate point. They had been holding up for a very long time, but now it just seems like they do get muddier within a session quicker. They don't have the same low initial friction that they once had, and it's kind of just like I want to swap back to PTFE because the glass skates don't feel 100%. And in my experience, using basically every type of glass skate that has come to market at one point or another, they are going to start to wear down. I am not at all bought into the idea that they wear down mouse pads. That seems like real schizo shit, but the glass skates themselves are definitely affected by humidity, moisture, sweat, just there are a lot of factors that impact the consistency along with the actual durability. Like you can see, I could probably wipe these off right now and they would gain a little bit of speed and consistency, but it's just not worth the hassle compared to PTFE, which is tried and true, works better on most mouse pads. But yeah, there are plenty of options. There are these new Super Glides from Pulsar. These are updated. You can see that they're a lot more matte compared to something like the Esport Tiger glass skates, which are very glossy. The old Super Glides used to be glossy, so I don't know what this means for long-term durability. The Esport Tiger ones are pretty new. They do feel very light and floaty. This is how I expect glass skates to feel, but I don't know how long it's going to hold up, if that feeling will go away after a little bit of use. You got to imagine yes, though. Yeah, I wish Pulsar made these newer ones for more relevant mice, because I swear they sent me fucking 10 sets for the G502. I thought this was the Death Adder V3. It's not, so all I did was throw dot skates on a few mice. They do seem to have low initial friction, but a pretty consistent and controlled dynamic friction like actual glides. So to me, it just feels like maybe a 5% faster version of a stock skate for this mouse. And yeah, Pulsar does charge $25 for a set of dot skates. Compare that to under $10 for really any type of PTFE skate. I think it just doesn't make as much sense. The math of the economics for glass skates. If you just want to check it out, try it, absolutely. I'd say if you get the Razer Viper Signature Edition, the glass skates they provide out of the box, until they start to kind of break down, it's the best glass skate experience. So if you have this mouse, definitely throw them on. If you get glass skates in the box with any mouse, feel free to try them out. But going out paying $25, basically the cost of a mouse pad on mouse skates, I personally don't understand it. If you really are fiending for glass in your setup, you can get a glass mouse pad. I would say it's going to be a more unique, objectively more long-lasting experience that could just totally change up your setup. Meanwhile, glass skates, I feel like they'll be good and then they'll give you a headache. That's kind of just the way I see it. The new ones from Esport Tiger are $15, which is a pretty reasonable price, I would say, for glass skates, but they do only make it for the GPX, which is just so annoying. How many mouse skates are only available for a GPX? That might be a bit more of a problem for me as a reviewer who only has one GPX, so I gotta fucking take the skates off this thing every day. Yeah, apologies for the ramble. I'm not gonna lie, I do understand the appeal of glass skates, the extremely low initial friction, not picking up any of the texture on the mouse pad. It is just it's really smooth sailing while moving your mouse, and I don't think it's bad. I really can enjoy glass skates in games, but it's just eventually they're not going to feel like they did out of the box. And compared to something like PTFE that takes a lot longer to wear down unless you're like fucking scraping it on a glass mouse pad, I just think PTFE is a better value. On more hybrid pads, like Wraith has some pads out now, Cordura pads, just anything heavily textured nylon pads, they will be a different experience with glass because they're not just standard cloth pads. But unless you're on one of those and just want a very low friction air hockey table like experience, it's probably just not worth getting glass, really, regardless of the implementation. I've just yet to try one that's really above and beyond the rest. The new Pulsar ones seem good so far, but I'm not going to speak highly on the durability and then have it backfire again. But yeah, the matte ones, they do seem to be a bit more consistent. Yeah, I'll link everything in the description that I talked about in this video. If there are other types of glass skates, I think BTL has some. I will be willing to check them out. But yeah, I'm probably going to be going back to PTFE skates on most of these mice. Like and sub if you enjoyed the video, and that's going to be all. Peace.